I've been very lucky. I've worked in sport and in television sport for a very long time. So television sport, it might be something like having ITV's highest ever audience in its history, which was 28 million that watched England play Argentina in the World Cup in 1998. Sadly, we got knocked out, but the game went to extra time and penalties, and it was in peak time on a Tuesday night. I was also responsible for the highest audience in daytime because England played Australia in the Rugby World Cup in 2003 and played Australia and won it famously with that Johnny Wilkinson kick, and that was on ITV. In football itself, so seeing this place open, when I joined it on day 2 I came here and it was a building site. 2 years later I was walking out with Prince William when he opened the stadium, so that was quite a proud moment. After it had been announced I was leaving, we went to play Croatia, and Croatia of course beaten us here rather famously, and we beat them 4-1 in the World Cup qualifier. Theo Walcott got a hat-trick and Rooney scored, so that was quite a nice moment, I thought. Yeah. I think sport's a great industry to work in because it's diverse. There's lots of opportunities and lots of ways that core activities can be placed into a sport environment. Media, law, broadcasting, marketing, stadium, event management, talent representation. So it's an industry that's growing all the time, and I believe it's growing geographically and the range, you know, from athletics to Zumba really. And it's $1 trillion industry. It can take you around the world. It's taken me around the world. You don't win every day. Certainly if you're the CEO of the FA, it's a very public position. So you have to accept the fact that people have a view about what you do, and it can be quite contrary to what your view is, but it's the reality of it. You have to have a certain amount of strength of character and personality to get you through the tough times and then to enjoy the good times. I think it is about, and certainly depending if you get to the top of it, you are managing a lot of people who are very expert in their own field, but it's impossible for you to be an expert in all those fields. So the art of delegation comes in, and the art of knowing who and why to get around you. I found when I was the CEO of the FA, I didn't feel I was the most important person in the pack. I felt all the team were, but I happened to head it. And so the challenges are to keep pace with just the growth and development of sport. It is about keeping abreast with all the developments in the industry that's moving all the time, and its internationalism. It's moved across the world. You can't hide from the results, you know. If you're involved in football and club football, there's a league table every Sunday that suggests where you are in it, and it can define your week. You can have a great working week until the game's played, and then you can have a rotten working week. It's exciting, it's vibrant, it's dynamic. You need to be a strong personality, you need to be a people person. It's a people industry, and you have to grow the game, you have to grow the sport. Football can grow, you know. It's great to see women's football now becoming so important. You know, it's another growth element in the game of football. But there's other sports that are somewhere different in their growth spurt, and you've got to just help them through. And then the other thing I would say is that you don't necessarily have to be in charge or be part of the sport that you naturally want to be in. You may find you have to go through 3 or 4 different sports to get to there. And by the way, you may enjoy them so much you never do get to there. So I would always encourage people to look wider than football if that's their first choice, whilst accepting the fact that might be their ambition of where to end up. I think it's a remarkable institution. I mean, I was there at the very start of it, and I have to pinch myself occasionally when I see how far it's got. You know, and I was watching a game the other week on BT, and up at half-time popped up the advert for UCFB, and I said, it's just remarkable. It's turning out some great students. I think it's also given some students an opportunity they might not have thought would have been for them. It's industry specific, and because it's got first mover advantage, it's already established and growing. UCFB is trying to train people up for a future career in sport. So obviously there are core modules in law, finance and such like, but the rest of it is customised to the fact that you're potentially going to work in a football industry or in the wider sports industry. So there's a guest speaker programme that is first class, bring industry professionals, not just from football, but from across the industry, and not just famous faces, less famous faces, but very key players in the area that they are in the industry.